Hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. Tonight, we're going to be continuing our game development project. We've got a little bit of tweak to monster spawning to make it a little more robust, but then we're going to move on to some other stuff and probably get totally sidetracked. But before we get into that, let's check in with the kitties. We do have Sky in Ember's normal spot without Ember there. That is across from the keyboard. He is taking up pretty much the entirety of the camera space. We have Sherbet and Sammy on the bed with Sherbet in his standard comfy contortionist mode there. And then we have Ember over on the shelf. So again, to maximize the amount of visible cat, we'll start with the bed. For those in the wide view format, we have a zoom in here. Sherbet's not fully contorted, actually. It looked like he was starting to roll on his side, but he's just bageled up. Hey there, cats. Welcome, welcome. You're right here at the beginning. And Fairy as well. Welcome, everyone. We are just getting into things here. So last time on the broadcast, we spent most of the time trying to get monster spawning working. Eventually... Well, I'm glad you liked it, cats. I'm glad you liked it. Chilla's art stuff is sometimes hit or miss. There are circumstances where it's prone to having a very fiddly thing you have to do at a crucial moment. Such as, I think the end of Night Security was that way, it was excessively fiddly to get the result, and the result was kind of heavily telegraphed in the overall, but they're nice little bite-sized experiences, and that was a good one. I'm actually looking forward to trying out their Spot the Difference one. I don't know when we'll do it. Maybe next week or something like that. We'll have to see. Microphone feels a little too far away here. Adjusting chair. That should do it. There we go. Has an impact on volume. All right, as I was saying with the code, like right here is what we came down to. Monsters can collide with each other, so we're only checking for the spawn point if there were monsters. We had a couple, well, we had several during Halloween season where we were trying them for jump scare purposes. If you want more of that, the observation duty list is a good one to check. I don't think the alternates are quite as good, but I think there's I can't remember the name of the other one, but those Spot the Difference ones have some really good moments where something weird happens. Why don't I play popular games? Part of the problem is that some of the popular games are not fun to me. The other difficulty is that everybody else is playing the popular games, and it can be difficult to compete when, you know, somebody huge is playing it at the same time as me. So I try for smaller things. Also, some of the ones I like are just more niche. Does that mean I would never play a popular game? No, that's not what it means. For example, Helldivers is pretty popular at the moment and is a lot of fun. and I play it each night offline, but um, a given session of like a given run of Helldivers at the minimum way that we play it is generally about an hour and a half, give or take. And that's a time commitment. We would get like, maybe 2, maybe 3 runs in a stream. And sometimes it's not as satisfying. Sometimes it's hilarious. Sometimes it's a lot of fun. But it can get really intense. And that means I don't get to chat as much. We don't have the same kind of chill atmosphere. Dragon's Dogma 2 is... it's currently a little after 4 p.m. Dragon's Dogma 2, I'm having a great deal of fun with. I don't know that the way that I play would necessarily be entertaining to watch. I generally just kind of ramble around blowing stuff up, leveling up, and doing all the like side quests and caves and whatnot I can find. So there's not as much of the traditional play experience going on. But that's not to say I would never stream it either. We'll see. It wouldn't be a contiguous experience, So how we're going to change this is that instead of just rotating around and putting them there in kind of a random half a square distance from it, it's going to rotate around and do it in chunks. So each rotation will have a certain amount. So if there's only 2 creatures, then it will be 180 degrees. So it will put them each in kind of the half. If it's like 3 creatures, it would be, 120 degrees, and it would put each one in a third. I used to watch more anime. I'm aware of some of the ones that are going right now. I really liked the first season of Ranking of Kings, but I couldn't get into the second one. I love the Overlord light novel, and I really hate the anime. I've read a lot of the One Piece manga. I'm not super up to date. Hey there, Billy. Welcome, welcome. I have watched Rick and Morty. I do enjoy it. I am up to date on the latest season. It's fun. It's fun. I find I enjoy the overall arc, or at least the constant beat of almost the kind of steady falling apart of the Rick character, where the ending of each season is kind of another blow to the invincible super science guy image. Billy, do I play a lot of games? I do play a lot of games. I play them offline and I play them online. Recently, we've been working on making a game here. That's what is showing on screen. I play a lot of like the Ace Attorney and kind of interactive fiction kind of games. A little more interactive than visual novels, generally, is what I shoot for. And sometimes the mood takes me to play some other stuff. It's never that I curse or something like that, cats. I try not to do that. I feel like there's a lot of spicy language that is used to, what would it be? To obfuscate your point, essentially. A lot of swearing replaces more robust description. If, for example, monetization became more of a thing for my channel, it is technically possible, but my viewership is not up there where it would be relevant. A lot of swearing demonetizes your channel. Billy, I was okay with Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I preferred Valhalla. I played a lot of Valhalla. I never finished it, but then again, my way of playing Ubisoft's bog standard gameplay is rove around the map, making all of the little icons go gray. It is effectively a numbers go up scenario. And yeah, Vaporeon, we got kitties. Those are 2 of the 5. That's Sherbet above and Sammy below. Yeah, primarily cats. The call out that it's not targeted towards children is both for emphasis that my channel is explicitly, like, there's a setting in YouTube, don't suggest this to like YouTube kids kind of stuff. But additionally, some of the games I play are not necessarily like targeted towards kids. It's definitely possible. My memory is not great, Vaporeon, so sometimes I will not recognize people. Yeah, Billy, the big kind of open world Ubisoft games can be a lot of fun. I mentioned Dragon's Dogma a little bit earlier in the stream, and that's part of what I enjoy about it, is just roving around doing stuff. There is something fun about just rampaging around the countryside. All right, so we need to make sure that this works. So we go in and we prime these variables. And we define what the segment is. All right, Billy, thanks for joining us. Unfortunately, cats, the way the eye tracking works for me, it's very hard to wink. So I have it wired up, so I just blink both eyes at once. It doesn't detect my eyes very well. So there's actually, in the tracking software that I use, there's a lot of like fiddly scripting that goes into making sure that my eyes actually blink and that I can do things like widen them a little. But just a little, because it's kind of fiddly that way. What's your question? Soviet Union... Oh, okay, the country ball thing. Okay. Welcome to the stream, Jarrett. And cheese. No worries. Go ahead and ask it later if you if it comes back to you, Misha. Hello, Legend. Lots of folks swinging through. Welcome, welcome. We're doing a game dev stream today, but what that generally means is a lot of chatting and likely a lot of getting stuck on programming concepts and bugs. You know, as you do. Okie dokie. So feel free to chat. I may miss things and have to like spend some time scrolling back up and finding things. Let's see. Not an AI in the sense of actual like generative behavior and voice. You know, I'm not like Neurosama. But as far as a nanotype is like a droid. I do the thumbnails myself. Sometimes I just repeat them. The Ace Attorney ones, I have a bank of them to cycle through. Welcome back, Okaneki. And yeah, Soviet, those are 2 of my 5 cats. You know, kind of akin to that, Legend. Kind of akin to that. Let's switch over to cat cam real quick for the newer folks. We can actually see all but one of them on camera right now. And there's a good chance that the 5th one is on the bed as well. So the big fluffy looking one that's taking up most of the camera space is Sky. He's my biggest cat. The little kind of gray and orange one that's kind of curled up is Ember. That's my smallest cat. Then the 2 kind of middle-sized ones, they're a little bigger than Ember. They're over on the bed on the Squishmallow and the blanket. That's Sherbet and then Sammy. Sammy's the Tuxie. Not visible is Mason. He's the 2nd biggest cat. He's the same coloration as Sherbet, but a little less, he's a little more homogeneous, a little more symmetrical in coloration. Sherbet is very kind of splotchy in his coloring. But yeah, that's the camera network that I use to drive the cat cam. Your friend is the worst iPad kid. What does that mean? Oh, well, cats. Definitely there wouldn't be some sort of AI attack in the future. And Catbot Factory and, you know, the nanotypes would certainly, definitely not contribute to any sort of anti-human behavior. Not familiar with Wattpad. I assume that is a type of app. Okay, so heading into the loop, we've got our segment. So we're going to rotate the segment. The end of the loop, where we add the mob body, we're going to say no, we only really want to mess with it here. No worries, Cheese. If you change your handle often enough, I will very quickly forget. But no worries. No worries. You do you. Hey there, Michael. Welcome, welcome. You were in the last stream as well, Michael. Yes. You initially asked about planes, I think, or aircraft. I'm not familiar with that. Is that a studio or something, Cats? So, Ollie, as an initial warning, self-promotion or promotion of other channels isn't allowed. So please don't do that. Let's see. Oh, no, I try not to play those. Most of those end up being kind of gotcha or gotcha adjacent, or they are energy-based games. Kind of daily login energy-based games. All of those are driven by what's called dark patterns. They're meant to drive you to spend money using things like fear of missing out and similar. It's akin to things like Genshin. It's not to say that you can't play them free. I did try to play Genshin that way, but they definitely have mechanics and advertising methods that are meant to drive you to do that, that are meant to make you to get you to log in every day and do that. Cats, my time pass things are to listen to audiobooks, to play nonograms, and to read. Okay, so what we're doing is each time we get our current rotation amount, which starts at 0. And then we add to that a random amount from 0 to the rotation segment, non-inclusive. Yeah, but Cat's that whole daily login kind of thing, where you log in and you get a reward. That is one of those things that that falls into a lesser dark pattern. The idea is to constantly make you want to get into the game, and usually to present you with stuff like, "Hey, if you keep playing, we're going to give you this. We're going to give you this." They're freebies. They get you in the door. Again, no shade if you play them. And I appreciate the folks that play them and they use them as just like a, hey, I'll pass the time. But if you can do that, if that's the way you play those games, they're not aiming at you. They're aiming at the people that are vulnerable to that. It's like if you go in and you just play some slot machines or you casually play poker or something like that at a casino, you know, you come in, you set aside some money and you say, I'm only going to spend this. Casinos aren't aiming at you. They're aiming at the people that are psychologically vulnerable to it. Yeah, I can't say I've actually encountered things like Clash Royale. Could be different to that. I do know that there are like level up the things mechanics in that one. but I can't say that there are. I wouldn't be able to tell you if there are like pay to accelerate mechanics. Like you can buy a bunch of these coins and it will move faster for you if you do. Oh, that's the thing. You're never forced to pay in them. If you're forced to pay, that drives people away. The general pattern is to give them the option to pay, especially if that includes things like you can play more if you pay, or you could potentially, level up faster or something like that. Even if it doesn't give you an immediate advantage, the impression that it will give you an advantage, or the feeling that you will get something good. It's why things like Genshin have really flashy, like pull and box opening things. It's why they do that in Overwatch. All of those things, whenever you get a loot box or similar, it's meant to make that exciting and cool, and that you want to experience that. That's usually one of the flashier things that they present to you. Again, it's fine if you like those games, and there are ways to play them that are non-addictive. I am somewhat vulnerable to those kind of mechanisms, those kind of patterns, so I avoid them. Welcome back, Billy. Let's see. The proto-nanotype's initial creation was around, I think it was November 3-ish years ago. I don't understand the context there, Power. Okay, we've got that rotation, we've got current distance. I use an iPhone for my main camera. Primarily, I use an iPhone because of the AR kit facial tracking that it has. There are other options for it, but I found that this is very accurate and effective. The cameras that I use for the cats, I can't see the brand currently, but they are pan tilt that support, I think, up to 1080. The little cat cams I use are like around $20, less than $30. Eventually, someday, I plan on replacing them, but there's some infrastructure that would need to be put into place before I do that. Okay, rotate it. Okay, so we take the current rotation, which starts at 0. And then we add a random value in that rotation segment. So let's say we're doing 180. It will put that object anywhere from 0 to about 179. The random float, it will be less than 180. Oh, I'm not planning to remove it, cats. I'm planning on changing the cameras. both potentially changing some of them. Like, there's not a lot of activity in the play area. That's mostly an area in transit, so I'd like some different spots. I'd also like to move, in general, change the ones that are low traffic areas. Change the cameras over to something like powered over Ethernet instead of USB. It's a little easier to deal with. And I'd also like to ceiling mount the whole operation instead of having to clamp them to desks and tripods. It's additionally making them non-pan tilt means it's harder for the cats to mess with them. They don't do that much anymore, but every now and then I have to fix the point of view of them. Okay, so we rotate it in that segment. We normalize it so that it's just a direction. Then we multiply it by the current distance to give it the specific point. No. Well, I think they can get audio, but I don't think the one that I've got does that. You can get audio ones, but that's not a feature that I need or want. Because I'd have to do things like noise cancellation on them, and noise cancellation tends to cancel out cats. Like, every now and then Ember will be right up next to the right up next to the camera, and you can't hear her purring away or trilling. Do you mean cats? Do you mean which one? Which cat do I like the look of sleeping? Okay, so we've got our position. Now we... Oops. Take this. Small position update. Oh, the cat that loves me the most? Pretty much all of them really like me. If I walk around, they tend to gravitate with me. So if I leave the streaming area, they will slowly start to migrate to wherever I go. And they're not really thrilled with me if I do that. They'll start to mess with stuff in that room and start to get kind of agitated. Sky becomes kind of destructive if I leave the room and don't, like, coddle him during it. He'll follow me and he'll start messing with things. Find shelves to clear off. No, they follow me around within the factory. Within the cat-safe areas. Drink a beverage here. I'm not going to set this here because we set this every time we go into this area. So. Oh, we don't leave the factory. Though they do need to go to the vet periodically. They actually have, I need to schedule some appointments for them. It's a bit of a production. Primarily when it comes to Sammy and Sherbet. I think Sammy will be easier this time. She's not thrilled with getting picked up, but I think I'll be able to get her into a cat carrier without battle damage. Last time Sherbet needed to be run into into exhaustion. To the point where it's the only reason I got him into the carrier is he was too tired and panicked to flee anymore. It's the same reason that I don't have him. I haven't been able to trim his claws. He will not be picked up. Though comically, he sometimes goes into the current cat carrier to nap. I brush them now and again. Most of the ones that I have right now are not big on being brushed. Sky will attack the brush. Most of the handles are all chewed up as a result. Every now and then I'll brush the other ones, but they're a lot touchier about it. My Tom, the longer living of the big Maine Coons, he liked being brushed. He really liked it up to a point. I mean, he would get overstimulated from it after a bit. If you brush a cat too much or in the wrong spots, he would get, they can get touchy. He was very prone to, like, fur mats. I mean, Sky will grab the brush and gnaw on the handle. He will try to take it from you. So we've got the rotation. We add it to the position. Okay. So we can get rid of that. So then current rotation plus equals rotation segment. If current rotation is greater than or equal to 360, current rotation is equal to 0, current distance plus equals, let's start with 3. I don't bathe them. So far, they're pretty clean. None of mine are water cats as well. Could I? Yes, but for the most part, they don't need it. Random float range 0 to 3. So the distance increment is always 3. Let's start with 3, just to keep it nice and clean. 3 is not a lot. 96 is 1 square. So we'll see how this works. So what it should do is spawn them in segments. How many segments do I want to have maximum? All right, cats. So right now I have it where the 360 will be divided by the number of mobs. If that's the case, I don't actually need this at all. Let's see, if we had 10 of them at once, then it would be 36 degrees. Which should be plenty of room to spawn them in. I feel like that should be plenty. So what we're thinking about right now is I feel like this is going to be a risk surface. If I spawn too many creatures at once, then the circle will potentially overlap them enough to cause the problem, I think. But maybe not. Let's see if it will run, and we're going to take the blobs. Where's their template? Blob spawner. And we're going to add 19 blobs. So blobs will spawn. We are making a Vampire Survivors-like game, Dino. Or is it Dino? Okay, well, they're spawning in groups, so I feel like the way I did it is going to be enough. All right, well, which means we don't need this. So generally, Dino, when I am asked a question like that, I will respond with something that is lore of the character relevant. I don't generally answer kind of IRL personal things, you know, age, precise locations, that kind of thing. Doing okay, Dre. Or is it Drew? But, yeah, thanks for swinging through. Plus or minus 3. Okay. So we don't need current distance. Need current rotation. Beginner. I've dabbled with the idea of starting something in the past, but I've never really pulled the trigger on it. Like, I messed with some Unity, that kind of thing, but never really went as far as we're going right now. Definitely beginner. We're learning Godot together. As far as programming, not a beginner. Will do, Drew. Okay. Just do 0 to 48 and see how that does. That's half a square. Actually, let's do a full 96. That's a full square. I may have to store that off somewhere. I'd like that to be a constant. I don't like that I named this global nodes now, but, you know, what you gonna do? I may have to move some of the stuff out of it. All right, let's try this again. Make sure it's still working. Then we're going to move on to fix this first shot. It's a bigger deal to fix it, but okay, well, I think the blobs are spawning in sufficient numbers, and it's working. Thanks, Dino. So far, it has been very rewarding. It's time-consuming. I generally only do it on stream, with minor exceptions, but it has been very rewarding. So, you know, thanks for the sentiment, and thanks for swinging through. Okay. Spawning works as we want it to. It doesn't affect projectiles because we have this special condition here. This is kind of messy, not thrilled with it, but it is what it is. Okay, so we have that. So now the thing that I was talking about was targeting. So if we go over to movement, we have get target. So what we do is we go into each movement template and say get its target. Currently, what it returns is an object, and we don't want that. Yeah, the viewers are pretty variable, Dino. I do appreciate if you want to stick around. Don't feel obligated. It's generally kind of a chill and chat kind of stream. We might not get as much programming done as we could if we just buckled down. In fact, we absolutely won't. But if you like what you see and you want to keep watching, feel free. Even if that means lurking. Okay, so now we need to go in and we need to find all the target references. Movement, movement types. We have a movement and a movement template. Yep, it's something. I'll take whatever I get. For those of you that are watching, keep in mind that I do have 3 streams going. So if you're in widescreen and you want to see it in tall format, I do have a tall format stream. If you prefer to watch on Twitch, I have the wide format on Twitch as well. Whatever you are most comfortable with. All right, cats, welcome back. Okay, so we have movement template move, and then that's going to require that. Hey there, Sunfish. We are still working on our Vampire Survivor style game. We just got mob spawning working kind of how we want it to. Don't know if I answered that. Cats, did you mean Instagram? So this isn't the right number of creatures, and these creatures are placeholders. They don't have health, anything like that. But what we did is we made logic to let me spawn great big masses of them at once. Previously, they would glitch out wildly if I did this. So the background, the little purple bubbles, the fact that I'm using the blobs exclusively, those are placeholders. pretty much nowhere, cats. I am very much actively not on cameras and images. As mentioned, I really don't like being on camera. Thus the advent of this whole thing. Movement move. Then move it template move. So we need to go to movement template. Its move takes a an object target. We want to change target. No views. I generally, if you mean viewers, a lot of the people that joined that have subscribed from my shorts feed. I haven't updated that recently. I need to get back into the swing of doing it. But most of the people watch the shorts. I am seeing more people swing through now that my live streams can show up in the shorts feed. Hopefully more people will. But it's not kind of like a an overlap. Well, you'll have to guess. You will have to guess that to yourself, cats. The name I shall be addressed by is Newt. But if you are interested in the rest of my content, I do have some shorts and whatnot that people liked more or less. Shorts is kind of a variable thing. But it's shorts traffic doesn't necessarily translate into long form traffic. It doesn't necessarily translate into live stream traffic, but I am enjoying the additional conversation that we get when there's more people swinging through in the short form. Okay. Nope. Cats, nope. Did I? Right. Open temp. Okay. New. I'm gonna add a script. It is going to be a target. Target extends node. This is just a script. I need to capitalize that for consistency. Just a moment. We're going to take a quick break, then we will resume. Right, just getting settled back in, and then we will resume. Scaring you. Those are powered down. See? These are the scarier eyes. And these are kind of appropriate to what you're doing. What we're doing. Oh, that's right. That's right. If I do that and it's not centered, okay. Let me try to fix that. I forgot. That doesn't work for the tall format, folks. So, sleepy or sleeping? Also do that. Hey there, bear. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the broadcast. We're doing some game dev today. Okay, a target. Target. Target object. Whatever it is, it has to extend object. That's right, Bear Cub. I have 5 cats. Further delaying the programming, but this is totally a coding stream. We can see 3 of them currently. Ember and Mason are not visible. Ember's over at the fountain getting a drink. That would happen, though, if my VTuber disappeared or if the overlay disappeared, I would not appear. None of the cameras can see me. Action. So, vector 2. Parasocial, that's one of the aspects that they definitely got pretty wrong, is, or at least unrealistic, is that most of the programs don't display you at all. It's not like it's an overlay on top of your picture or something like that. Your camera is only aiming at your face as far as detecting the face. You could have a camera pointed at your real face, but like, for example, my software, there is nothing that is showing my actual face. for those of you that wonder about the mechanics of a VTuber model like this. Okay, so what we're doing with this, let's export these. Can I export these? Don't want it to be a node. How do we do that in movement template? Okay, it just has an object internal to it. Okay, well, we'll use getter setter. Inevitably, there are anti-cheats in my computer. Though, if I recall, are you referring to the recent Apex controversy? The AR kit in the iPhone camera picks up facial movement. It's the same thing that lets you do like face ID kind of login stuff. That is piped into VTube Studio, which is captured by Vitamins, which is then wired into VTube Studio on the streaming PC. So instead of exporting them, we'll do a get set. Hey there, demons. Welcome, welcome. This is, we are doing we are developing a Vampire Survivor style game. We are currently abstracting out the idea of a target object so that I can include target direction, since some of the movement patterns don't care about an object to follow, they care about the direction they're moving. That need not be a responsibility you do. So this is where we are at the moment. We are still in the very beginning of it. But we have our little dude in the center. We have code for generating those weapon shots, as well as generating how they move. And then we have code for generating all these little critters. I definitely won't cats. No hints, nothing like that. That goes for any IRL information, so. Yep. These are placeholder critters at the moment. The central sprite and the slimes are all references to my old Noida streams. I used to play Noida almost exclusively. Hey there, Keats. So Stream Elements offers you sponsorships like crazy, but all of them are for things like Raid Shadow Legends, which shall not be. I was talking about dark patterns earlier, and Raid Shadow Legends has pretty much all of them. Hey there, Conduct, and yes, those are 2 of the 5 cats there, demons. That is Sherbet on the blanket, and then Sammy on the squishmallow. Dude, we are now moving on to changing the way that we are defining a target. Currently, a target is an object that is stored in the movement entity and passed along through the movement templates. We're going to make a encapsulating class for it so that we can carry a direction with it. Because some objects will only care about these two things, one or the other. We did fix the spawning thing. I can show you that. So you were there for the prior one. So this is our spawner logic. As you may remember, we got around the problem by saying if it's a monster. And then what we're doing, I'm doing this in segments so that it's a little more readable, is we do the same rotation. We do it in slices. So if there are 10 creatures, there'll be 36-degree slices. And then we put it up to a square away from the spawn point, which is letting us spawn as many as we want. So it seems to be working. I expect once you get into high enough numbers, like 18-degree slices are working for these blobs, and the blobs are 16 by 16 sprites. I don't imagine we're going to get too much bigger. We'll see. But right now I've got 20 blobs spawning at once for each spawn trigger, and it's working. So we didn't see it this time, but sometimes when I start, these 3 bubbles go each in random directions. That's what I'm going to fix in the next little bit of code. And also, yes, Keats, happy birthday in advance, since I can't guarantee that I will be streaming tomorrow. It's not usually a scheduled day. So this is each spawn trigger. Every 2 seconds, 20 blobs get spawned somewhere off the edge of the screen. Eventually, we are going to have controls for how many there are. It will eventually bog things down. There are just too many entities, you know? But somebody was mentioning the still of a cat. That is not a still, as was mentioned. Those are live feeds. Camera 1 is misbehaving again. There it is. We can currently see 3. Ember is close to that, to the cat tree that's not next to a window. Hey there, Pandora. Yeah, I think something like that would work, really. What we could do is, in the game logic, go through and say, actually, no. Not that we shouldn't do that. It's that I think we can do it a different way. At least as far as detection. What I would want is something that says a blob touched the outer area. So can we do that? What I don't want is to have a bunch of area 2Ds. That would be a hassle. Haven't decided anything about how the game will be obtained. If it is, it would be something that would be really cheap to start with. You know, money is useful. But this isn't, you know, this is by far not a AAA title or anything like that, so... If we do get to the point where it is completed, then we'll start thinking about actual distribution. so if we go into the game scene, so currently the spawn location is determined by a circle. Oh, and sponsors, I don't have any sponsors that I have that have actively actually approached me or that I have approached. Small viewership pool, so the only ones that you can get easily early on are things like Raid Shadow Legends and the like, and I don't have a lot of motivation to advertise those because they do. Most of the ones that are trying to be that aggressive about advertisement are dark patterns. Additionally, I am seeing an increasing pattern in deceptive advertisement from them. Every Hero Wars advertisement. Okay, so it generates a circle about here where it spawns them. Now, I don't want to have to iterate over every mob. So is there... Was what a joke? Raid Shadow Legends? No, Raid Shadow Legends... they haven't been doing it recently, but as soon as you sign up for Stream Elements, which is a overlay and whatnot that you can use, which I don't actually use, it is very likely that you'll get sponsorship offers from Raid Shadow Legends. If you're a small channel, those sponsorship offers won't pay out. Not like they defraud you or something like that. It's that it's very hard to hit the numbers, so they just get free advertising out of you. But Raid isn't as bad about deceptive advertisement, but there's a bunch of others that are getting there. And they fall into the same pool, like gotcha auto battler kind of things. Okay, so I have an area 2D. What can I do with it? That's if you can actually trigger it. The sponsorships require a particular number of viewers that see it, a particular number of viewers that download it, and those viewers need to play through the tutorial, and sometimes they have to spend money. And only if you hit those objectives do you get anything out of it. If you miss even one of them, you won't get anything. So that's why when they offer it to really small streamers, it's kind of sleazy. Okay, needs a shape. The question is, can we invert it? I don't think we can invert it. That's a shame. All right, let's go. Yeah, if you have enough viewership to trigger it, I don't really fault anybody that does it. You gotta make your money, you know. It's the fact that they approach streamers that are very small. Like they approach streamers like me. I could not hit the goal. I could definitely not hit that goal. So if I do several streams like you need to, where I'm playing Raid Shadow Legends for like several hours, potentially multiple times, they get free advertising and I have to stream it. And I don't get paid for it. Outside of, any normal streaming monetization. I don't feel bad about it, Cats. It's that I will likely go into great detail, and my knowledge of game industry and some of the development patterns will make it seem like I am being very, very critical. But again, if you like these games, what I'm saying doesn't mean you can't play those games. Feel free to play those games. It does not reflect badly on you. It's the behavior of the companies reflects badly on them. And I wish they would stop. But we'll see. Favorite animated movie? A lot of good ones. All time, like across everything I can think of, I like the Rankin and Bass Hobbit. I also really like the Rankin and Bass Return of the King. I wish they'd done the rest of them, and I wish you could actually find and watch the Return of the King one legitimately now. But that one doesn't really exist. Those can be really good. Slice of life can be really good stuff. Thanks, Clayton. Those are 2 of my 5 cats. Oh, we can see that Sherbet has gone into full contort himself mode there. He is the white and tan one that's all twisted up. Hey there, Slappy. Welcome, welcome. If you do see me, or do hear me, talking to somebody you can't see the text of, they're in one of the other 2 other streams. There are 3 streams going at once, 2 wide format and 1 tall format, so people can be in any of them. Okay. Do we have an object leaving? Be an area. I think area exited would be the thing. Thank you, Clayton. I appreciate it. For those that aren't familiar with the channel, most of my streams are very kind of chat oriented. If I am playing a game, I do try to make time to chat. I don't play a lot of very active games. We did do a Monster Hunter collab, but in those, please forgive me if I'm slower to react to chat because there are often focus times. But my standard stuff like programming or interactive fiction like Phoenix Wright games, that kind of thing, I have plenty of time to chat, so don't feel like you're interrupting me or distracting me. Okay, so if we can programmatically set the area 2D's collision shape size, cleanly set it. I don't want to have to fiddle with the position strangely. Kung Fu Panda 4, not terribly excited for it. The first one was good. The second one was okay. I feel confident that I saw the third one, but it was wearing out its welcome already. Like, they're not bad, but they're reaching that it's inoffensive, it's okay, it's something I could watch kind of movies. Hey there, Fraggy. Welcome, welcome. Okay, I have to get the actual shape. Is a shape 2D. Okay. Somebody mentioned Gorilla Tag before, Clayton. I have never watched it or played it. I am aware. I have been made aware of it by people asking about it in stream. Okay. Care about Collide. I don't do any like full VR stuff or similar. And even outside of that, the current games I'm playing outside of doing things like this are Helldivers, which I play generally, maybe, at most like once a night. An activity. Never played it, Clayton. That's not to say I will never play it, but it's not on the radar right now. Dragon's Dogma, which is consuming my life outside of stream. I loved the first one, and I'm loving the second one. And up until Dragon's Dogma 2, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which I will eventually return to. Someday I might look into VR content. Not high on the list, but it is something that is interesting, that is like, hey, maybe. But there's a cost factor and there's a logistics factor. I do want to first get to do like painting or similar. I used to paint like wargaming figures and whatnot, and I'd like to do some more of that, maybe show folks on stream. I did some drawing streams on a tablet, but I think I'm going to circle back around to that later to do like concept art and whatnot for my sprite designs. I wouldn't say it's in my bucket list, cats. It's not something that I would care about doing or not in a life interval. But it's something interesting. I would not feel bad about trying it. A circle shape. It's a radius. So if I know it's a circle, if if I know it's a circle, I should just be able to set its radius. So I mean, you've been asking a lot of questions, and I've been given a lot of answers, so we're kind of having a Q&A right now. Any sort of Q&A or AMA would be bound by the same restrictions that I have been telling you about up to this point. But I'm down to answer any questions you might have. I do circle shape 2D. I cannot. Okay, it is a part of the collision shape 2D. Welcome back, Okaneki. And that's probably not a piece of information you'll get either, Kat. Locations, birthdays, all of those things are social engineering factors. They can be used to identify somebody, even if that is not your intent. Somebody else might do that, and I am paranoid. Okay. So if I get... Okay. Here's what we can do. Okay. We got that. Then in game, in the script for game, we're going to export our area. Story or narration games? So I've got a couple on that front. You wouldn't expect it, but Final Fantasy XIV has a fantastic story. The classic recommendations, or at least the classic callouts, are the Shadowbringers expansion and the as far as like emotional impact. There's some really good stuff in that. On a fluffier sense, I like the Ace Attorney games. And hello, Dream. Welcome to the channel. Oh, well, that's kind of rude. Let's see. But yeah, the Ace Attorney ones are fun. They are not like big epic narrative ones, but they do have overarching stories and consistency, that kind of thing. Nice and light and fluffy. That's wrong keyboard. Collision shape 2D. Okay. I saw the reference. I was not aware of the current news cycle surrounding that. Not something that I keep up on. All right, Clayton, thanks for joining us. And you mentioned Phillian. I am aware of Phillian cats. Not my type of streamer, both in how I stream and also in the streamers I like to consume. But aware of Phillian, yes. They are a big name, as it were. I can see what you're calling out as a resemblance, yes. All right. One moment. Do this. There we go. That's what I mean, cats. Is I get where you're calling out the similarity. I can see what you mean. Hair and ears, essentially. And there was somebody that popped in and was, I don't think anybody saw the text. So there is a problem with the chat aggregator that I use that I can see comments and it doesn't indicate to me whether they're being held or not. So it's a bit of a hassle. I may change things around in the future. I've just got to get my other streaming monitor fixed. Welcome back, Clayton. Yeah. Yeah. How would I say it? Phillian is a Twitch streamer. And I don't mean Phillian streams on Twitch. It's that Phillian's behavior patterns fall into a particular category of streamers in my view. I am not fond of that, but I get that. I understand that there are folks that like it, and it's a matter of personal preference. No shade to the individual. They are very capable and successful. Okay, so we have this. So what we can do is in the inspector of the game object, we can now take mob survival area shape. We set spawn. Yeah, this is what we don't need to do. What we need to do is we need to create a class that is essentially a library. And what we'll do in that class is we'll create a whole bunch of exported variables so that we can do things like reference this directly without having to do this. This is bad. We don't want to do this. The reason that this is bad is it is folder structure dependent. If I change the folder structure, if I move where single blob spawner resource is, it's going to break this code. So I'm probably going to have like a series of factories. $60 out of what? That's relevant. And then what kind of music? Do you mean it in a like study sense, like music in general, theory of? Or in a sense of you are a musician and it is a matter of performance and skill? I mean, out of 100, that's... I don't know what your pass-fail lines are. But if it counts as a pass, good enough. Okay. So clearly we have derailed. Because I felt like doing this is where we want to get. Okay, so... All right, so... survival area shape dot position is equal to player position I have all of the formally scheduled YouTube streams up on my channel. You should be able to find them in my upcoming streams list. So that'll give you an idea of what my coming schedule is for the week. Like, you tried to breathe a fry, Okaneki? I have heard their oxygen content is a little low. Okay, so... Hey there, Demon Wolves. These are here as proofs of concept, by the way. This is the spawner that creates those purple bullets and is attached to the player, and then this is the spawner that is that's triggering the blobs. Rival area shape. Okay. Okay, let's... We wanted to go... Screen. Let's go 2 whole screens. No offense taken there, cats. I do regularly get people in the channel and watching my shorts regularly in a vague sense, in a contextual sense for the comment rate and viewership of my streams that have that same impression. And are everything from disappointed to hostile about it. Okay, 960 is the radius if we want to encompass the screen. So if I put it to about that. Yeah. So that'll touch the edge of the screen. I don't know what that is, Cats. Is that a typo? 20. Okay, if a mob leaves this area, they've been sleeping for the entire stream. Stream is generally nap time. Every now and then, they will be moving around a lot, but generally assume it is nap time. And I do have a Discord, Cats, in the descriptions of my live streams and on my channel. There is a link to a LinkTree, and that LinkTree has a link to my Discord. And on my Discord, this is semi-complicated, or at least convoluted. You arrive in a particular channel, and then you have to be given permissions to get into the rest of the channels. But for the most part, if you make your identity known as far as which channel you're from and what your handle was there, like, you know, hey, cats are my favorite kind of thing, then I can get you permissions to see all the other boards. We have a board with like pet pictures, that kind of thing. It is not super busy there. Okay. What we want is a screen in each direction. So the whole screen is 1920. So we want 1920 plus 960. Oh, mathing real quick. 2880. There we go. For the most part, I don't think I've ever... Well, okay, tell a lie. It has taken me a while sometimes to realize that I hadn't pushed the end button yet on one of them, but when that happens, I have only ever done that when I've already stopped recording, so it's just sat there showing like the last frame kind of thing. It has acted like it disconnected. As I said, I am paranoid. A lot of people do, Clayton. A lot of people do. Okay, so we have this, and then yes. I can remember road trips where I have panicked and called the local police department to swing by and make sure that I didn't leave it open for fear that somebody would get into my home. Like, I'm the type of person that would drive home in a panic if I got it in my head that I left the stove on. Because I would rapidly become certain that I did indeed do that, even though I hardly use a stove. In a cooking sense, I am a danger to myself and others. Really paranoid. So I don't think in a clinical sense. The story time playlists are me generally. I've done a couple of book readings. Which again largely end up being chat. I have my cats and occasional conversations with folks. That is plenty of social contact off street. I have a lot of back in the day stories, largely coincidentally, which might be apparent given my my lack of awareness of the memes. Or as I wouldn't say introverted, but as introverted as I behave off stream, I have never had a problem with things like public speaking, as might be apparent by the streaming. Different mental modes, as it were. What are we doing? Okay. So then if we go mob survival area node, and we have area exited. Generally I would be streaming for another like hour and 15 minutes. Might be a little shorter than that if we get a good ending point. But if that's the case, we'll probably spend a little bit of time on kind of a wrap-up conversation. Yeah, I can understand as far as folks that have that real high social anxiety factor. I don't experience it. I don't experience it intensely. Like I said, I can kind of flip a switch. Even past streaming, I have a customer service voice or mode that I can do. But yeah, I get the social anxiety aspect. I don't want to have to directly converse with people kind of thing. Yeah, don't experience it myself, but I empathize. I do have like back stretches and whatnot. Every time I take a break, it's for that kind of purpose. Get up, move around a little bit. Don't, become attached to the chair. Familiarity and safety there, Okaneki. Makes a difference. Tangentially related to the channel, cats are that way. A lot of pets are that way. The common parlance of that pet, that animal's person is usually people that they're comfortable with. I think I mentioned previously, but I've known cats that are vicious and mean to anybody that isn't their person, like immediate violence, kind of vicious. but are really snuggly and friendly with their person. Lots of things like that, you know? Okay. We have area exited. We're going to connect that with an on-mob survival area exited. Okay. Let's see. Quite a while. Quite a while. Give you an idea, if Tom had survived, he would probably be 15 to 16 by now, and he was one of my first cats. And I had him from like early kittenhood. I appreciate the sentiment there, Kat. I will say though, and this is not a call out against you or anything like that, but I am not a actual professional, a mental health professional in any way. I can only advise people to seek to be well with themselves, and if they can't be, to seek help in one way or another. Hey there, Mark. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Well, that's unfortunate, Clayton. Okay, so we got... no. I don't want the shape. I want the entity attached to it. How am I going to do this? Okay, so I don't think we want this. We're going to disconnect this. That's not what we want. Body exited. Okay, that would be a physics 2D or a tile map. Oh, so for those wondering, one, we're developing a game. At the same time that we're learning Godot engine and the associated GD script. We're making a Vampire Survivor style game, and what I'm trying to do right now is detect when an entity leaves. And then I need to relay that up and remove that mob. I have not watched Puss in Boots Last Wish. I have heard very good things, and I do eventually want to watch it. I've heard very good things. if I don't... eventually, I'm going to have collision shapes enabled on the wall, so I need to make sure it's not a tile map, because I don't care if a tile map leaves. Or at least for this purpose, I don't care that a tile map leaves. Eventually, I'm going to be unloading the grid and the associated collision objects as the player moves around, but we'll see on that front. We're going to get a body. Then from there, I could get the parent node. If I get the parent node, that's a mob body. Okay, let's try that. Connect. We're going to connect to game. Make it that. It's body exit. Body get. Body parent. Null. If a parent is my body, why don't they share the plushie cats? Or the Squishmallow? The only ones that are comfortable, like, cuddling up next to each other are Sky and Ember. The rest of them aren't really thrilled with that. They get their own spaces. And hey there, Wolf. Sorry, catching up. And hello, Hour. Welcome to the broadcast. We're doing some game dev today. This is largely a chatting stream, and in the background, I'm doing that. Okay, then mobile nodes dot move from group body parent. No, it's not removed from group. Add mob, remove mob. Remove from group is entirely different. And it's, what's the signature? Type and body. This is a Vampire Survivor style game. Let me see here. Let me catch up on these. However, I have played TF2 in the past. Very briefly. Very briefly. I actually played Team Fortress before. Way back. Here, let me just... I'm going to put a pass here. We're going to comment this whole block. Should still work. Hey there, Ishmael. What class did I play? I tried several different ones. Generally medic or pyro. So, if you're familiar with Vampire Survivors, it is a game where generally your character's in the center of the screen, and monsters swarm in from the sides. You unlock more and more weapons, and those weapons are used to ideally keep the things from getting to you. It's been called bullet heaven, reverse bullet hell, that kind of thing. Lots of this stuff is placeholders at the moment. Team Fortress 2 still has kind of a cult following still. That, to my understanding, resents Valve's disinterest in the game greatly. So we let the things touch us, it kills us. But yeah, Team Fortress 2 is frankly the original hero shooter. A lot of people point to things like Overwatch and say, oh, that's the first one. But I personally think it's Team Fortress. All of the sprites in the game I made. The like I mentioned, the little robot in that I originally made for a game called Noida. I made a mod for that I wired heavily into my stream, and that's pretty much where the entire fiction comes from. If you mean my avatars, the very first avatar, a still image I made. The second one, which was live 2D of that still image, the rigging and the additional art was done by a third party. And this one passed my description. I wrote up a full, multi-page document defining this, but another artist in Rigger did that. But yeah, the game, I made all that stuff. Okay, so we've got that in place. But I don't know which type to put it in. Does mob body have its type? Bar parent mob body. Is mob body equal to body parent? Body parent body parent dot, oh man, okay, we don't have the type. Oh man. All right, Wolf, thank you very much. I appreciate it. If it had been in mob body, that would have been very convenient. But why can't it be? I have listened to Hatsune Miku. I don't actively. Vocaloids are not bad, but the era that voice generation technology came from, I've always been able to kind of hear the mechanism of it. Now, there might be examples that are kind of softened or refined, but the Vocaloid voice generation, I'm not necessarily a fan of. There are nuances of the sound. Well, I definitely don't have green hair and super long twin tails. Okay, okay. In a spawner. I really don't like some of the conventions I'm creating for myself, but scripting gonna be scripting. To spawn. Pool type. And there we have it. So now I can go into spawner. And instead use a body. Just in case. Don't worry about it, cats. That is your perception. And if you are not pushing it hard, like insisting on it repeatedly, then it's not a problem. Don't worry about it. You've just raised your opinion. Okay. Okay, now mob body will have it. Okay. So now I go back into game. Check this symbol. It is type body. Type parent mob body. Okay. What's my wallpaper? You mean behind me? Button for that? Nope, not that. Oh, I do have a button. There we go. Well, the folks on widescreen can't see this. Oh, I just have a black background. For a while I had my I had the initial channel logo, but it's, I don't know, I kind of want to get another one made someday. Well, thanks, Clayton. I appreciate it. But no, it's just a blank image entirely. Pretty much. I find I'm never really looking at my desktop. It's always something, running. Okay, so if they leave, if it leaves the area, then it will go away. So if I keep moving in this direction, then anything that I leave behind should have that. So what we're going to do... We are going to do 0.1. Will this work? Okay, it's working. You'll see some of the other logic at play here. Okay, I don't see them getting popped. I think we need to get a little further away from those southernmost ones. And we're definitely far enough away from them now. Look at them spawning all correctly. Isn't that great? Okay, no, they are... I zoomed the camera way out. So I do want to, the camera that we can see right now, that is pointing at a particular corner of the bed where they usually congregate. But I'm thinking of moving that camera a little bit, because often when you can see those two sleeping there, if Mason isn't somewhere else, there's a good chance he is up and right from where they are. So just off camera, essentially. Last I saw in there, he was a little further up and right. But yeah, they tend to be sleeping there. Let's see if we can spot some more kitties, huh? So Sky is sitting up in the tree. I wonder where Ember is. Wait a minute. Zoom. That Sky? No, that's Ember. She doesn't go up there as much as she used to. When I first adopted Ember, I still had Tom. Big old Maine Coon. When Tom would lay in that box, he could, like, there was a lot of fluff, but he could essentially have a lot of his body from end to end of that box and, like, hang his head and arm out of it. He was a big boy. One of the other cats and Tom could, like, squeeze in next to each other. And initially Ember would, like, squeeze in between them. You would just see, like, her head poking out or something. It was very cute. Yep, that was Sky passing through. Okay, we are going to put a breakpoint there, actually. Here. Wait a minute. Nothing else detects it. It is not in any layer, but it detects all layers. So yeah, we are zoomed out like 10x. So you can see we load generally... Okay, get a break. Okay. We are going to step in, step in. Okay, the bullets aren't going away. All right, we're going to put a break. Huh. How did it jump up to core? Oh, strange. Okay, those bullets should have triggered it by now. These bullets down here. Okay, so this isn't doing what I wanted to do. But there was a glitch in that. Once I had mispressed something. Yeah. It's right now, objects don't fall off. Right. The bullets are not getting eaten. Those should have been removed by now. Actually, no. Trying to remember where the collision logic for these was. Yeah, really. There. What I have is I have a box. I have a area entity, like a big old circle right now, but it could be a square. I should probably make it a square, but for the time being, it's a circle. And it's supposed to be detecting if a body, like the collision zones, leave the leave the that circle, and if they leave that circle, I'm trying to get rid of them. Right now, the radius is really big. I could shrink it, but we can detect it pretty quick with the bullets. Like my name, cats. What's my name? What's the purpose of my name? So right now, this isn't functioning. So that's why I've zoomed way out, is if I get up to here, then that should be the kill zone. So Newt is the name. Like NEWT is the name. Mechanist is a title. It's an archaic term for somebody that works with or makes like robotics or machines. Okay, body parent is this, which is a what? All right, we're gonna debug. Already said that, cats. So I'm gonna have to ask you to stop requesting that kind of information. Age, date of birth, name, that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna answer those. The inspiration for the avatar is an extension of the catbot idea. I use newtmechanist as my username. The avatar, it, like I said, is an extension of the lore that grew up around catbots and the catbot factory. It's been something that has been building over time. All right, let's see if we just print that, what happens. Okay, it's just saying node. All right, let's look at a mob body scene. What would it be? Oh. Okay. Okay. How about... Because the mob body is the body. Now, that said, something like GPT and similar, unless it has been explicitly designed to tell you something like what I told you, it's also very likely to lie. And that's something they haven't been able to overcome, is chatbots just lying to you, making stuff up in order to actually respond. Debug. Bot. It's effectively the same problem that AI art has, cats, is okay, it's getting the character body. Okay. So comment. I like that. Toggle comment, really handy. If body as my body. And we're going to reload. It's why the VTuber Neurosama, which is an AI-driven VTuber, but part of the streams is always the person behind the bot, there to make sure that it behaves properly. Okay. Debug body. Plus. 2 plus? Ah, it'll do plus. Okay. If I have, it would have slipped out in Noida. But I don't think I have. Like, me personally. I've even found myself self-censoring when I was reading books. Off stream, occasionally. It is a... Would it be social infection or something like that? Where the speech patterns of the group are used when in that group's presence, kind of thing. Maybe social adaptation? Else... not. The function's getting called. They are exiting it, but I don't think they're actually mob bodies is the problem. Okay, just gonna... it's the plus operator that it doesn't like. It will two-string the body. It will give me a object instance and a class name. Look at output. Huh. Oh, that's because we removed the prints. Okay, I've done this before. What was it? String something else. I think we can just comma chain them in a constructor. Will this work? I think this will work. Hello there, Ghost. So this already prints. Like, this will toString itself when it's referenced as a string. So now we've just got to get the rest of it working. Output. They are mob bodies. Oh. I think it's been working the whole time. Nope. Queue free. It should be axing them. Like, these should go away. Oh, I think they did. Watch the lower right purple bubble. Okay, it's working. It's working. The initial bug that we had, we want to make sure that the circle stays big enough. I do want them to be able to chase a while, but I think you're probably right there, really. We can probably do a little smaller. What we can do is probably a whole screen left and right. If body is not equal null, safety. Like, I'm not worried about a difficulty circumstance, like there will be too many monsters. It's more there don't need to be that many off screen or on screen, I should say. Where is it? Game scene. So right now we have a screen and a half. Yeah, we don't want the edge of the screen, but the player won't win if they do that. They'll keep spawning. You set you to 1920. So this is a screen and a half horizontally. You know, I could ultimately just make this a square. Yeah, let's do that. Do rectangle. Okay, it's 20, 1080. Okay. Then we can add, so that's its whole length. We can add half a screen. Let's just add a whole screen and see what happens here. Which is 2880. So this is a whole screen on each side. And this is 1620. That doesn't seem right. Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, you're right. You are totally right. There we go. You are correct. I was mathing wrong. I could change it for debug purposes, make the player faster, that kind of thing. Ultimately, I am going to have some global objects that are things like banks of templates and banks of variables. Okay, we can see them getting wiped out there. Yep, nice. Yep, it's also how we're operating here. I wonder if I could use similar logic for the tile sets. We'll have to see. All right. Be right back. I'm going to take one final break, and then we're going to wrap up for the night, I think. And I have returned. They don't blink because I don't actually have to blink. It's for human comfort. Marketing found that Nyanotypes are significantly more approachable and cute if they can blink. So I can close my eyes, despite the fact that they're just essentially screens. The original Catbot just had a big old LCD face. So we were originally going to implement a different system for identifying a target, and we started to do that. But as is tradition, we didn't do that. But Instead, what we did is the object culling, because we mentioned wanting to cull things and really called out just have a box, and we decided to follow through on that whole concept and find a way in Godot to implement it in a relatively straightforward fashion. I don't know if this is efficient, but it works. We will have to adjust for the fact that if the player is running in this direction, unless things spawn on this side, they can outrun them. I think it'll still be okay. But we can see the bullets are getting culled, the monsters are getting culled. It's all working. Interestingly, the cats actually get upset if I don't go to bed at a reasonable hour. Some of them will just go and start to sleep themselves, and some of them will start to antagonize me. Because they all sleep around me. Like, Ember and Sky tend to share the Squishmallow. Sometimes there is one on the blanket, but Sherbet likes to be on the tallest part of the window cat tree. Sammy and Mason will be somewhere nearby. Sometimes Sherbet is on the blanket next to the Squishmallow. Okay, these guys are not being culled. Okay, so we do have some weakness here. Once they're outside of the bubble, they're immune to the bubble. As in, they can no longer leave the bubble. And if they can't leave the bubble, then they don't get culled. So we still have a problem. One possibility would be to have a great big collision zone on the outside, essentially a death box. Again, we don't want to have to do constant collision checks. But in reality, we kind of are already. Yeah, it's ceasing to cull them. Because they were leaving the box. They did leave that box. Well, we'll have to address that next time. Oh well. But we did make some progress. We definitely have monster spawning working, and I think we have the skeleton of the object culling. Something went wrong with it. We need to figure out what. I feel like we were seeing an error, so we're going to have to double check on some of that logic. If I have to guess, it's that if a bullet is hitting them at a similar time, it might be leading to some sort of conflict. I don't know. We'll see. That is correct. We are wrapping up the stream, Clayton. We've still got a little bit of time, so it's pretty much just chat at this moment. Ember is coming to join me for some pets. Hey there, Jose. Joining us right here at the end. Gonna chat for a little bit. Sam, we made some progress today. We've still got some things to discover. We've still got some things to try. Worst case, what we will do is create a a series of 4 collision zones that will kill any creature that is in them or that enters them. More of a droid, cats. More of a droid. Fun trivia. Are you aware, and it's not in common parlance, you're going to change your name to Nugget, Jose? It's not in common parlance anymore, but android is a male droid, and a gynoid would be a female droid. So, andro and gyno for, I don't know which language those variations originate in. But if I recall, the coining of the term droid had that sexed aspect to it. Gendered, as it were, but the terminology to use in this particular circumstance is unclear. Cats, no. As might be apparent, the shell doesn't have any sort of things inside where we would have to worry about temperature. I mean, so there's 2 things. There is the lab coat, which is, I mean, it's technically clothing. And then, sure, it's on the back of my chair. And the rest of the stuff is, it looks like clothing, but it's part of the body. This is an overlapping hip plate. This is the hip plate. There's the upper, the thigh plate, and then the boots. The boots are my feet. Less clothing, more part of body, But yeah. I'm not skinny, I'm little. I'm only 4 feet tall. I'm ittle bitty. I'll drink some. In terms of the stream, the avatar and me are the same. And the avatar does have some lore. There is a backstory that is, to some extent, a bit of an Easter egg for some veterans, but will probably become more apparent over time. But there are also, on the Discord, there is a transcription of the content leading up to the debut stream, and there is the debut stream archived. Let's see. But yeah, made some progress. Next stream, I believe, is an Ace Attorney stream. Double check. Height is a variable thing. That's ear fluff. It looks denser than it is. Well, that, and if you look, the The input is above the fluff, or at least part of it. Let's see. What is the next stream? Checking. Yes, next one is a Apollo Justice Ace Attorney stream. It will be Friday at 4 p.m. U.S. Central. I already told you my height. I'm 4 feet tall. That includes the boots, though it doesn't include the antenna or the ears. Top of the head. Sorry, Sherbet is swarming me. I sound 6'2". Okay. Yes. But Apollo Justice on Friday at 4 p.m. U.S. Central. I do have the streams posted on YouTube. So you'll be able to pop into them early or keep track if they end up getting rescheduled. Hopefully they won't get rescheduled. Hoping for a clean week. All right, folks, if you haven't already and you liked what you saw, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, all that fun stuff. It's good for the channel and it helps the algorithms determine the kind of things to show you in the future. With all that said, I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.